Hello, and thank you for calling the Trustworthy Podcast Studio. We are unavailable to take your call right now as we are out enjoying our summer vacation. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message at the sound of the tone. And when we come back this fall to record all new episodes for Season 3, we will get in touch with you. Thanks and have a great summer. Beep.
Hey, Sarah, it's Mary Beth. Pretty sure you have my number, so I'm not going to leave that here. But I'm running out of sunscreen and I'm trying to wash all the sand out of my car. And it made me think that we got to get cracking on Season 3 pretty soon. So come on back home when you can, and we'll record some more conversations about how God shows up in our lives. See you next season.
Beep. On today's episode of Trustworthy, you get to listen in as Mary Beth and I had the opportunity to record in front of a live audience. Enjoy this special presentation of Trustworthy, recorded in November of 2024 at Willowdale Chapel. Is God trustworthy? Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Mary Beth.
Join us as we seek to answer this question through wholehearted conversation.
Discover the wit and wisdom that comes from being anchored in Christ and connected to one another.
This is Trustworthy. Well, hello there, Mary Beth.
Hello, Sarah.
There are some other people with us tonight.
Yeah, just a few eyeballs looking at us right now.
That's kind of unusual.
Yeah.
I'm not used to people watching me.
I'm not used to people watching us while we have these conversations.
Yeah. And although there may be some people in here that drive the cars that have the cameras on the outside, but those make me uncomfortable, just so you know.
So for those who don't know, Sarah and I have a little podcast called Trustworthy. And, look.
There's our logo. Yes.
And we're in our second season. You can find it wherever you listen to your podcasts. And we're just humbled that Nancy asked us to come and talk tonight because we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But we record it, and then everybody can hear that we don't know what we're doing. But we just
It works out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
And I just want to say that doing things that you don't know how to do well is good for learning how to do them better.
Yes.
But it's also good for helping other people understand and know that they don't have to know how to do everything either.
That's right.
Yeah.
One thing I have learned tonight is that if you start a podcast, you might get free meals sometimes.
Yes. I have also had that learning. I feel pretty loved and cared for because I will cook. I do enjoy cooking sometimes, but making meals every day to me sometimes feels overwhelming.
Yeah.
So if someone's going to cook for me, yeah. We'll talk for our supper.
That's right.
We'll
talk for our supper.
Yeah. Well, there's no singing on the podcast.
Can't violate copyright laws.
That's right.
So, Sarah, why did we start a podcast?
That's a great question because I wanted to.
That's right.
It was an idea that I had a few years ago, and I just felt like there were people out there in the world, or in this case tonight in this room, that may be interested to hear some things that I had to say. I do like hearing myself talk. My second grade teacher, I think, wrote that on my report card. So it's been a lifelong passion of mine, this talking. But sometimes when we're having a conversation with someone and we are talking about things of the heart, spiritual matters, truth comes out. And I thought, gosh, wouldn't it be great if more people could also hear this? So the podcast was sort of a way to reach more people with the truth of the gospel.
Yeah, and Sarah approached me last fall, I guess it was, right?
No, it was the beginning of this year.
What year is this? 2024? Is that when it was, really?
I think so.
Wow. And she said, hey, I'm thinking of starting a podcast. Do you want to do it? And I said, sure. So here we are.
Did. Yeah.
So a little bit about us, if you don't know me. I know a lot of you in this room, but my name is Mary Beth. I've been at Willowdale since about 2018. My husband's name is Stephen. He has red hair. He's a deacon. You might see him around. And we have 2 little boys who are in 2nd grade and kindergarten.
Mm-hmm. And my name is Sarah Flowers, and I have been at Willowdale since 2017. And I am married to Joe Flowers. Funnily enough, we have the same last name. And we have a son named Blaze, who is in 8th grade. And yeah, I also attend Willowdale Chapel.
Yeah. So tonight, we are kind of doing what we normally do on our podcast, which is sit across from each other with microphones and have a conversation about some area or aspect of life where we find God trustworthy.
Yes.
So tonight we thought you are all ending your current season of Bible study, and we thought, we're entering Thanksgiving and the holiday season, and so it's kind of on our brains, this changing of seasons topic. So we're going to kind of talk about that. What does it look like?
Yes.
How do we do it?
Well, first of all, I just want to give a shout out to your professional looking clipboard
Thank you.
my paper with extra notes.
I'm a child of the 80s.
Seasons of change, which, I mean, the name says it all. Seasons do change, and there's really not much we can do. I think, what do they say? And I feel like there's some saying somewhere that I've heard about when you get used to something, it's going to change. And I have had some things in my life, or some times, I guess, some places that I've been that I've really enjoyed. And then they changed. And that left me feeling sort of off kilter, sad, and sometimes with a bad attitude. I'm sure no one in this room knows anything about a bad attitude.
Why are you looking at me?
I'm not. I'm trying to look out there, but when I move my mouth away from the mic, then it doesn't pick up my voice. Anyway, but yeah, so sometimes changes can leave us sort of adrift. Maybe is the right word.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of change, right? There's change that we look forward to, change that we do not look forward to, unexpected change. Like change is the constant, right?
Yeah.
The irony of that truth. So, we're entering holiday season. That's a season of change.
Yes.
How many people have already started putting up Christmas decorations? Yes, you're my people.
Yeah, I think I kind of did. Yeah.
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 But one of the things that we do in our house is prepare for Christmas season and Advent season. And so, Sarah, maybe we should talk about how do we prepare for seasons of change, maybe even when we don't know that they're coming.
Right. Well, I think we had covered this a little bit in our episode, which you can certainly refer to for more detailed information. But there's a couple things we can do. I really like practical mechanics of things. I like to have a plan and follow that plan. And if that plan involves me going to Costco, well, yeah, I'm there for that. Like to buy all the things that I might just possibly need. So we certainly can do some physical things. So if we know there's going to be a time of busyness coming up, maybe we can double up on some of our meal prep, and which I already told you I sometimes struggle with. By the way, thank you for this delicious meal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
But we can double up on our meal prep, kind of put an extra one in the freezer. There could be, hey, look, I have this event this week, and then in 3 weeks, I'm going to have a similar event. Ooh, could I maybe wear the same outfit or make the same recipe or buy extra of whatever I need to bring to this one to have that one? So I'm always looking for practical ways to do that. But I think one of the biggest ways that we can approach change and prepare ourselves is our attitude. And one of the verses that speaks to me from Proverbs about this, and Proverbs is one of my favorite books in the Bible. I like to read it frequently because I need it all the time. Proverbs 15:15 says, "All the days of the oppressed are wretched, but the cheerful heart has a continual feast." And to me, that means that if I am oppressed and I am dreading the change that is coming, Or maybe I have a bad attitude because I finally just had this thing figured out and I just don't want this to happen. And why is the world against me? Then most likely things are not going to go as well. And maybe my days will be wretched. But if I can look to change with a cheerful heart and anticipate what God might be bringing to me in this next season of life, then that is a continual feast, much like the delicious meal we had tonight.
Okay, I was just thinking of, I can't remember if it's 1 Timothy or 2 Timothy, where Paul writes that, God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but of power, of love, and of self-discipline.
Mm-hmm. And
I am not great with big life changes. I'm fine with day-to-day adaptability. We've talked before about personalities, and I'm good with adaptability, but not like big life changes. And I have found that whenever I'm entering a new season out of a place of fear or timidity or uncertainty, it's a recipe for disaster. And that is not of the Lord. God did not give us that spirit. And so I think that's one of the things that's helpful for me in difficult seasons of change is a check on my own heart of what is my attitude here. Am I relying and basing my decisions on fear, or am I relying on, the spirit of discipline that the Lord has given to us as a gift, the spirit of power that he gives us to walk into the unknown because he is with us and he goes before us and he prepares those things. So I think to what you're saying, it's a lot about attitude, it's about heart posture. But I think there are things that we do before the change comes that lay the foundation for us to walk confidently into those new seasons, which I think is some of what our questions were.
Yeah.
Do we want to get into that?
Got some good questions.
All right. Thank you for submitting your deep thoughts.
They are. Okay. We did. All right. Well, which one do we answer first?
I don't know. Luck of the draw.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna answer this one. How do we navigate change gracefully? This came from a very special table.
Where we sat.
Yeah, where we sat.
But we did not
influence the question. Yeah, we did not. That's a great question. How do you navigate change gracefully? Well, I'm going to just maybe fall down in this question a little bit and fall into grace. Sometimes when things come up, we are kicking and screaming and throwing a tantrum. However, God's grace is sufficient. And I think sometimes I spend time thinking about, that person really seems to handle things well. They've got it all together. They look like they're so graceful. But if you think about the word graceful, you can think about it as full of God's grace. And I would rather be that than look like I'm graceful. I've done some dumb things. I've, got up on my mountain bike and promptly fallen over with absolutely no reason why, and lots of other things too. But as far as change goes, I think being grace-filled and knowing that it's for his glory and his approval that we are going through our life, I think that's a good place to start.
Hey, Mary Beth, I was thinking that it would be really nice to hear from our listeners.
I would love that. What do you think the best way for them to contact us is?
Oh, that's easy. listen@trustworthypodcast.com is our email, and we would love to hear from you. Encouraging words or ideas for episodes, or even digital gift cards to coffee shops.
We're open to all of those things. listen@trustworthypodcast.com.
Talk to you later.
I like the way you took that question and made it about God's grace, because I am not a graceful person. Like, I think of like Audrey Hepburn or, these graceful women. It's not me at all. So I like how you just redeemed
I feel like
that.
did I cheat though? Did I avoid the question?
I think that was a great answer.
It was okay?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Because I also think there are good seasons of change, right?
Oh,
and we
yeah.
also want to enter those gracefully as well.
Absolutely.
We want to have an attitude of gratitude, as my dad always taught me to say.
Absolutely.
And I think that just one more thought on that question is maybe you don't enter a season of change gracefully.
Yeah.
Maybe you really muck it up
Yeah.
and you fail. And the good news is there's grace for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is grace for that.
Yeah.
His grace is sufficient.
Yeah.
His power is made perfect in our weakness, which is good because I know that sometimes in my life when I've had difficult changes come somewhere unexpected, somewhere expected, that wasn't me that was going to get through it on my own. All right. Okay. Let's answer another question. Okay. I want you to answer this one.
Oh.
Mary Beth, I have a question for you.
Let's hear it, Sarah.
Okay. How do you know when God is inviting you to pursue change?
That's a big question.
Yeah. And there's some examples here, like choosing to take a new job, to follow a new path.
I'm going to have to take a beat to think about that. So I would go back to my youth group days of when, I don't know if you have those times that you look back in your life and they're just like things that people said or things you were taught that like stand out as like benchmarks.
Yes.
And there was a talk when I was in high school that my youth pastor gave about how we determine God's will. Like, how do I know God's will for my life? How do we know how to determine it? And I feel like that kind of goes along with this question. There's another benchmark in my life. When I was in college, I was working on a political campaign, and the candidate for whom I was working lost his reelection bid. And the day after election day, he was, all the staff, we were on like a conference call, and he said his son was like, "Dad, how are you doing?" And he said, "I just really felt like I was called to be a congressman, and I don't understand why God would give me that calling and then not see it through." And his son said, "Dad, God didn't call you to be a congressman, he called you to be obedient." And so those are the frameworks in my mind that I'm always thinking about. Is God calling me to something new? Is there a season of change coming? Should I pursue it or not? I mean, one is if you're bringing it to the Lord in obedience and that is your desire, pursue it until he tells you otherwise, right? If he's closing doors and making it obvious that things aren't going to happen, then like that's your answer. But I think it's going in with the perspective that it is not the change, the new opportunity, the new thing is not the goal. The goal is, am I walking daily in obedience to how God is calling me to live?
Yeah. And I would just add to that staying in the Word, knowing what God's commandments are, and then having a community of believers around you that can help discern, the Spirit's leading. Yeah. And then there's another thing I like to call the trend of the circumstances. So as you pursue this path, does it seem like it's working out?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
I think we might have time for one more.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. I'm going to.
Now it's time for a magic trick. Okay.
Yeah.
Draw a card.
Okay.
Ooh. Sarah, how do we handle self-doubt in tough seasons of change? And who do we reach out to?
Is that question for myself? I don't know, but I can tell you some things that I've done because I've struggled with that as well. So you mentioned earlier the verse about God has given us not a spirit of fear, but of
Power, love,
of self-discipline. Yeah. I prefer the version that says a sound mind. That's my favorite translation. And I mentioned earlier that I love the Proverbs. One of the reasons why is because they are logical and they come from God. So when I'm doubting myself, I can read through the Proverbs and typically I can find some sort of answer or a direction for where I'm going. And so there was a time in my life where I found myself in a really bad situation that I may not have caused, but I allowed myself to be. I made the decisions that brought me to the place so that I could be, in a bad relationship. And sorry, I'm trying to I don't want to spend the whole time talking about that. But anyway, so I found myself, looking at trying to make decisions differently because I didn't like the outcomes. I did not like the things that I was reaping in that season of my life, and I wanted to reap different things. So I began to sow different seeds. And so one of those was reading Proverbs. So looking to the Proverbs and knowing that God has given us a sound mind, I was able to approach things with a set of absolutes. So again, just being in the Word, knowing what it is that God said, and then going through my checklist. Okay, does this agree with what God said? Do I know? Did God promise me this? And I had a card and I wrote down things that I knew that God promised me. And I referred to that, and I still have it. Those are my Ebenezer moments, so to speak. And so that was my approach to seasons of change. Hey, okay, maybe I don't like where I am, but how can I trust myself? Well, newsflash, we can't, by the way. Sorry, but we can trust God. So the more sort of settled in Him, steeped in His Word, and present in His Spirit, the easier it is to trust yourself.
Yeah, and I would just add, the end of that question was who do we look to? I say, look around this room. You have been in Bible study for the past several weeks with fellow, Christian believers who can help you process, help you, remind yourself of the truth that you might not be reminding yourself of. I'm a big advocate of the world, the flesh, and the devil are all out to get us. And so there are lies that the devil tells us, and we need other people to speak truth against those lies. And so it's exactly what you're saying. We need to be going to the Lord and to Scripture, and we also need people around us. And so, make that step of admitting to someone that from your Bible study, hey, I'm feeling some doubt about this, and process it with them too. Yeah.
Excellent. I think that was a good add-on.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. It's almost like you compliment the things I say.
Because they're so wise, Sarah. Was that a good compliment?
It was a good compliment, but I got to tell you what, though? It's not me. It's Him.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. We are running out of time, but
That's hard to believe.
I know. I want to ask you a question.
Ask me a question?
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Since you like practical things,
Okay.
how can these ladies who are coming out of a season of Bible study, entering who knows what other seasons in their lives, how can they take what they've learned, what they've sown, what God has been teaching them, and reap something from it in their next season?
Well, we did just talk about the importance of the community of believers, both on last Tuesday's episode that was just released and this evening. So I would suggest that you do two things. You plan for some time together with other people, and you also plan for some time together with God. So here's your practical application. If you have it with you, take out your calendar, which is, and you go ahead and do this. We're telling you to get your phone out if you have it on your phone. All right.
Or if you use a clipboard,
or if
me,
you
that's
use
fine.
a clipboard, that's fine. Okay. And what we're going to do, and Kayla, you better be sending me a request, okay? Because I saw you tonight, and I told you we were going to get a date on the calendar. Where are you sitting? Oh, there. I'm looking all over the room. I said, we're going to get a date on the calendar before we leave here tonight. And she said, yes. So you did not know that you were going to be put on the spot like this. So I think I just have your email address. But anyway, so what I want you to do is either send a request, text message, email to somebody either in the room or not, and say, hey, can we get together on such and such a date? By the way, next Thursday night from
Well, it is
7 to... Oh, that's not good.
I just looked at my calendar and I was like,
No,
well, that's
okay. The
Thanksgiving.
Thursday after that, because you've been in the rhythm of Thursday nights. So we would suggest that maybe Thursday night would be good. And or you could also just schedule a time for you to be either at home or away from home, whichever is more restful, doing something that will bring you rest. I like naps. I like manicures. I like pumpkin spice lattes at the coffee shop. Any of those things, really. But just kind of spending some time with yourself and with the Lord in the midst of a crazy upcoming holiday season.
Yeah. So I just set a reminder in my calendar to remind myself to make myself text someone to meet up.
Okay.
So that's what
That
I've added
sounds
to
good.
my calendar.
There you go. Okay. And I'm going to...
Don't forget, Mary Beth, to set up a time to do this.
Okay. And I'm going to
So
email...
if that's how your brain works, you can add that to your calendar. Or if you want to go ahead and set like, hey, I need to meet up with someone at this time.
There you go. Yes. Okay. Has everybody got that? Okay. And I'm sorry, Kayla. I'm on stage and I'm like, I feel like a deer in the headlights, literally. Like, where's my email app? Where's your email?
But but I think the goal is take that time with another person to process what you've been learning in this current season.
Mm-hmm.
And we have another practical, tangible something to help you along
Tangible
with that.
something. Yes, we do. Okay. So it's on the table. So we'll pass them out when we're done.
Sweet.
But we're going to be passing out a Ebenezer bookmark. And it just says, what is something that God's shown you in this season of your life that you can carry into the next?
And you can stick that in a book you read, put it on your mirror, keep it in your car, whatever. You can write down what God has taught you in this season, and then we just encourage you to look back on it so that you're not leaving everything that God has done this season behind, but that you are taking it to prepare yourself and work through the next season.
All right. I think that brings us to the end. Did we
right.
do good on time, Nancy? We did great. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. All right. Hey, y'all. Mary Beth here. Sarah and I are so glad that you chose to listen to our podcast. And while we think that we're awesome friends to have, we just wanted to clarify that we are not mental health professionals and want you to know that this podcast should not take the place of any paid professional advice.